You see that this gets started. Hi everyone, welcome to my first live. This is really exciting. Thank you. Hi everyone. This is super exciting. Thank you all for joining me today on my first live series. For my previous followers, thank you for tuning in and supporting, and to my new followers, welcome. I'm Nia Harris. I am a student athlete that plays soccer at Northwestern University, and I study journalism and design. And actually, previously this week, I was supposed to be in London for my journalism school. We were going to do a reporting and writing project, but due to the whole coronavirus situation, I wasn't able to do that. And so I started to brainstorm ways that I could further my journalism career, and I came up with the idea of doing an Instagram live series where I'll be interviewing professionals and successful people that I think can offer key advice to people like me and people like you. And to start off my first Instagram Live, I will be interviewing the Miss Marisa Viggiano. Marisa is a former teammate of mine and someone that I hold dear in my heart. She was one of our captains and is someone that I consider a huge leader, and is someone I've looked up to for such a long time. Every success that she's gotten, she deserves, and she now plays for Orlando Pride. And without further ado, Marisa, if you'd like to join us. I'm not sure if she's on yet, so we're waiting. She just has to request to split the live with me. So if she's on, that will be great. We have to wait for that. I have a kind of funny story before this. Oh, she's coming. Okay. I accepted her. It's waiting for her. So now we just have to wait. It's connecting. Marisa!
Hi!
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited that you're here.
Yes, me too. It's my first Instagram Live.
It's actually my first Instagram Live. It's fun. We're like newbies, which is really exciting.
Yes. I'm going to try and prop this up maybe so I can I feel like it's so close to my face.
I mean, your face looks great, so it doesn't matter.
Fine? Okay.
Yeah, I think you're fine.
We'll chill right here. Okay, cool.
Perfect. So I'm really excited to share your journey with all these people. I know I reached out to a lot of people, and they're really excited to hear what you have to say. I'm really excited, first of all, to hear what it's like to train with Alex Morgan, Marta, all those people. But we'll talk about that later, so everyone has to tune in to see it later, which is exciting. I guess the first I'm going to start off with is, did you have any idea going into Northwestern that you would be in the position you are now?
No, it's honestly really crazy, even to this day, to say that I'm a professional soccer player. Still kind of trying to navigate all of that, the reality of it. Quite honestly, going into Northwestern, going into college soccer, I was kind of okay, this is going to be my last 4 years. After that, I'll start a new journey in a different profession. So kind of going into it, I never really had too big of an expectation to go on to play professionally. But that obviously changed when I was at Northwestern, and I wanted to continue it. So never thought that I would be where I am today, but really grateful for it.
That's so great. You're in an incredible position, which is so exciting. Okay, I'm going to take you back a few years to your first year at Northwestern. What was your first college season like? Did you come in and kill it right away, or did you transition?
So going into college, I failed the beep test miserably. So I was oh no, I'm getting off to a horrible start. I'm not fit. I'm not ready for this. But I kind of just worked, and I tried to get my fitness up. We had a really good season. We finished 4th in the Big Ten, which was a huge jump from years prior. So that was really cool. And I think that was kind of the beginning of what Northwestern women's soccer really can be. I think being a part of that was something that was really special, personally, and I know for my entire class as well. It was something that we kind of feel like we started a fire with Northwestern soccer where, for the years to come, it was going to progress and progress.
I mean, your class definitely created such a legacy for the rest of the Northwestern women's soccer. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I was told that after your first year at Northwestern, the summer before your sophomore, you worked really, really hard in order to get more fit and come in better. Was that true? Did you do that? What were your goals for your sophomore year?
Yeah, so after that first fitness test, I knew that I was really gonna have to work hard to kind of prove myself because I did come in unprepared. So I knew going into my second season that I really was gonna have to work hard, get fit, get stronger. So really worked my butt off that summer, and it's been kind of like that's who I am now, and I'm just gonna give 100% no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. You have to do as somewhere that wants to really excel and take their team on. And my first year playing at Northwestern, you were a junior, and you were one of our captains, and you were starting every game. And I remember going into practice, and you would be there already, like doing extra time shots, or you would stay after practice and do extra stuff. And what was it like to be in that position that was so important? You were such an important player on the team. What did it feel like? What did you feel like you had to do for that?
So honestly, like I think it's just the kind of person I am. Like I wanna um get extra touches. I want to do things outside of training and practice and hopefully motivate my teammates to do the same. So that the team as a whole can be successful. And I think taking that role on my junior year as captain, I think that was something that I was really needing to do. Especially your class was so big. We had to welcome you guys in and kind of get you into the Northwestern women's soccer culture. And I think that was a big thing, again, that myself and my class wanted to do. So, showing up early to practice or staying later, just working on things that individually we needed to get better at.
Right. And you were talking about class size. Your class that you had was very large. It was around 10 or 9. What was
Yeah.
it like coming in with that many people? Because I had a class of 7, which
Yeah.
is large, but compared to having 10 people, that's a lot.
Honestly, it was like the biggest blessing having all of us. We kind of had the opportunity to go through the ups and downs together. We're still all super close to this day. We're actually doing like Zoom chats and stuff, which is really fun. So, they became my best friends and they'll be my best friends for forever, which is something that I'm so grateful for Northwestern for, is giving me all those girls.
Oh, that's so sweet. Which is, I think such a highlight of going into college and playing soccer because you create a family with the class that you
Yeah.
join with
Right.
athletics. I think is such a
Right.
plus with being a student athlete. What advice would you give a player that wanted to play college soccer?
I think the biggest piece of advice that I could give is really just commit to it. Like, if that's a goal for yourself and that's something that you're wanting to achieve, you really just have to go for it. You have to commit to trainings, commit to games, commit to the small things, nutrition, sleep, recovery, kind of everything that goes into it. And when I was, looking at playing college soccer, I wasn't doing those small things. I was thinking that going to training twice a week was enough. And that showed when I showed up for preseason and wasn't prepared. So really just commit to it and commit to even the small things because those small things really make a difference.
And what was the transition like from high school to your like first game at Northwestern?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference was like the speed of play, a lot quicker, and the physicality of it as well. The girls, I'd say the Big Ten is kind of more like athletically um, dominated, I guess, where girls are like big, fast, strong. So that was like a huge change for me, and especially because I'm so small, that was something that I kind of had to get used to right away.
What could you say? I know you mentioned like just committing and doing the extra trainings and things like that. What
Yeah.
could you specifically do to be ready for that physicality and like the bigger, stronger, faster girls if you had
Yeah, I think like strength workouts are really big. I didn't lift a weight before I went into college. And I wouldn't say that was like too big of a step back, but I think just getting ahead in whichever way you can, will really set you up for success.
Great. Awesome. So I know it's a dream for so many soccer players to play professionally. When did you know that it could possibly be an opportunity for you? Did you know at all?
Yeah, I'd say it was probably maybe like the end of my junior year, my junior season. It started to kind of become on my radar, and as something that I wanted to maybe pursue after my senior year, whether that would be domestically in the NWSL or overseas somewhere. Um, it was, I started thinking about it. My parents were super supportive with it, coaches, my teammates. So it was just something that I started to work at, and I had in the back of my mind going into my senior season.
Okay, let's actually rewind to your senior season. So you played your final season, and then you get drafted by Orlando. What led up to that moment? Like, did you put yourself in the draft? Did your coaches suggest it to you? Like, how did that all come about?
Yeah, so I put my name in the draft. I really had no idea what to expect. Kind of was just like hoping for the best. But I knew that even if an opportunity didn't come here, I knew that going overseas was something that I would be interested in. But I still put my name in the draft. The draft was in January, and it was in Chicago. So myself, Hannah, and Kayla all went. And we were all just like really excited, nervous, didn't know what to expect. But all three of our names got called that day, which was like the most incredible thing. It really like changed our lives, honestly. And the fact that we were all there together made it even more special. So yeah, it was an emotional day. I like almost cried when I was giving my speech, but really just a memorable day.
No, I'm sure. And for those of you that don't know, Hannah Davison and Kayla Sharples are also former teams of ours on Northwestern, and they were drafted into the Red Stars of Chicago, which is fantastic that all three of you guys got that successful opportunity. And I remember watching the draft. I think it was in the locker room, and it was like so exciting to see you guys be able to hear the pitches. And I'm pretty sure I probably teared up a bunch just because I know of all of that so much. Okay, so after the draft, you needed to be training with Orlando for preseason and hoping to get onto the roster. How did you prepare? Because I remember that January going into spring, I would come to practice and you would, of course, be there training like against the wall by yourself, shooting goals. Like, did you have a schedule? How did you prepare?
Yeah, so the coaches and strength coaches were really, really supportive with helping us all get prepared going into our preseasons. So I was still in class. I was still in 4 classes. So I had to kind of navigate my trainings around that. So we made a schedule for January and February. We were training with the team and then also doing some individual strength sessions and some running sessions. And then we would also sometimes go in and do individual sessions to kind of work on things that we wanted to tune up before going into preseason. But it was really nice that we were able to train with the team still and get a lot of touches each week going into preseason. I think that was a reason why when I did go to preseason, I felt comfortable with my soccer abilities, I guess, because I didn't take that time off from the draft to preseason.
Right. Which is, I mean, that's amazing that you could say that you were comfortable going in. Like, such a nerve-wracking situation, and I'm sure you still had nerves, but like the fact that you prepared so much is so amazing and shows that like obviously the preparation really to it. Okay, so this is something obviously I'm really excited about. What was it like stepping into the locker room for the first time with Morgan, with Marta, with Ali Krieger, with Ashlyn Harris, all those big names? What was it like in the first training? How did it go?
That was so intimidating, so scary, so many nerves, just because it's like these are women that I've looked up to my entire life. Like name these big names in women's soccer, and now I'm like sitting next to them. So it's like kind of like a crazy thing to like wrap your mind around. But they were all so welcoming, so nice. Really wanted to like get to know all the new players. Super helpful. So it was like, it's still even crazy to this day that it's like these are my teammates now. But they were really cool.
That's awesome. Did that come to a surprise to you that they were just so welcoming and personable and approachable?
Not really. I mean, like at the end of the day, they're all humans, you know? And I think it's really cool that they are like these big names, but they're also able to be like super helpful to new kids and stuff, new teammates.
Awesome. That's so exciting. I can't imagine. Like, that's literally a dream for people to be teammates with those people that you literally grew up knowing their names and watching. Like, I can't even imagine. I'm so proud of you for what you've done. Okay, as a rookie, you've been able to get into games, start some. How did you get yourself in that position?
Yeah, so I don't think I made it into my first game until like May, maybe. So kind of leading up to that, I was really just trying to work as hard as I could, absorb as much information as I could from the staff, from the players, just so that when I did get my opportunity, I was able to fully take it. And I also think that it helped with it being the World Cup last year. So a lot of opportunities really came forth because at least 10 of my teammates were away at the World Cup. So that left a lot of holes that needed to be filled, where a lot of rookies were able to really step in. And I knew that when I had those opportunities in those games, I was really going to have to take it because that was, you know, it could be my only shot for that year. So going into it, just really doing as much as I could to prepare myself.
What were the types of questions you were going to your staff and your coaches and asking, like specifics?
Yeah, so a lot of it was just what I needed to do to improve, what they wanted to see from me, what they thought that I could work on, and that kind of played into me staying after practice and working on these little things that they wanted me to improve on, and things that they were going to need from me once all of those players left. So just a lot of, you know, what I could do to get better, what I could do to grow, what am I missing, and what I can do to help the team.
How much soccer do you watch? I feel like that's something that I talk about a lot, and it's something that so how much extra soccer do you watch?
Yeah, that's a big one. So honestly, I probably don't watch as much as I should. Like, I'll just be completely honest.
Yeah.
I do watch a lot of my team film though, individual clips and team games. And that really started last year. And I knew that that was something that was one of those small things that I was going to have to start doing to improve my game on the field. So being able to sit down, watch my individual clips, the good and the bad, was really a good way for me to learn, especially being my first year. So that was something that I'm still working on, but it's something that I definitely have improved on, I'd say in the last year or so.
That's awesome. And I know film is so important. How do you deal with watching the bad film? Because even me, I'm like, I don't want to watch. I know I did not good at this one. But how do you deal with it? Like, in moving forward that you can learn?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah. It definitely can be hard, especially in like my first couple games where like I had a lot of nerves, still kind of picking up everything. But at the end of the day, that's like the stuff that's actually going to make you a better player on the field. So watching, you know, maybe the not so good stuff is really going to help you learn and grow as a player to hopefully not make those mistakes in the future. So at the end of the day, you just got to do it. You know, it is what it is, but it definitely will help you grow.
Awesome. Okay, tell me how it felt to step on the field in your first professional game.
Yeah. So we were playing Utah, and I don't remember the score, but I remember my coach called my name, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, It's happening. Like, I was so nervous. I literally was like telling myself, I was like, okay, just go in and like get a touch on the ball, calm down a little bit, connect a pass, like it'll all be fine. He's putting you in, he like trusts you. He wouldn't be putting you in if he didn't believe in you. So I subbed in. There was only like 10 minutes left in the game, so um, not much, but I was just like, okay, just go try and make an impact. You have 10 minutes. Like, this is the opportunity you were given. You got to make the most of it, um, and just go from there. So it was like crazy. My heart was beating so fast, but it was really cool. And to say, like, like I'm a professional now, it kind of like solidified everything.
Yeah. And it was so good to hear you think about the fact that you're going in the last 10 minutes, but you calm your nerves down by knowing that your coach trusted you and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Did you always think that, like, even in the beginning of college, or has all the years progressed to you being confident in yourself and knowing that your coaches trust you?
Yeah, I mean, I think confidence really stems from within. And I think it grows with the help of other people. But I think, the root of it is definitely within yourself. And it's something that I still have to work on to this day. It's not just here and here forever. But it is something that, it really comes from within. And I think being prepared and being ready for situations makes you more confident going into them. So knowing that I put work in, um, leading up to that moment, that kind of calmed me down a little bit.
Okay, so what type of extra work do you do specifically? 'Cause you said that you go in after practice. Is it like just to get your touch better, to get more shots? What specifically do you do?
Yeah, so honestly, it's kind of a little bit of everything. So, whether it's taking some extra shots on goal, whether it's playing some long balls in behind diagonally, working on first touch, working on the technical side, it kind of just changes kind of what I'm feeling that day. And maybe something that like I saw from film that I needed to work on, or something that my coach wants me to progress in. So it kind of changes, daily, but I think it's good to be able to kind of work on everything and be an all around player.
I know our coach Michael always tells us to do a little bit extra, and a lot of the time we're nervous, kind of as players, because we don't want to get injured with doing the extra things. But I
Yeah.
know that you kind of stayed away from really large injuries at Northwestern, which is really fantastic, and
Yeah.
that's rare. So what did you do to make yourself more accessible to longer ranges of playing and like not being
Yeah.
and not having really big injuries?
Yeah, I think that's a really big thing. And kind of like you mentioned, you have to be smart with it. So if you're wanting to do extra training, you can't go and do 100 shots with your right foot, because you are going to be prone for injuries. So you have to be smart with it. So using resources, talking with your coaches, trainers, I think that's really important. And then kind of just the small things that I mentioned earlier, sleep, recovery, nutrition, all of that plays into your performance on the field. Whether you want to believe it or not, getting 4 hours of sleep and waking up and going to practice, you are putting your body at a risk for injury. So, getting a good night's sleep, eating before and after training so that your body is ready and fueled. Um, and I think nutrition is a really big part of that. Recovery, foam rolling, recovery boots, everything to kind of prepare your body for the next session and keep it healthy.
Awesome. That's really nice, good tips. Okay, take me through your first professional goal from like the first
Ah,
time preparation. Like, tell me your thoughts, your feelings. Like I
oh
can't
my
imagine
gosh.
what it
So basically, so I was playing the 10, and our outside mid kind of pulled back into the midfield. So that kind of gave me a gap to run down her side, and she played the ball in. Um, I got it. I started dribbling towards the defender. Um, and once I got like to the 18, I just shot it and it went in, and it's still the craziest thing to this day, because I don't think that I could go and do that again. um, but it was so surreal. And you can like tell with my celebration, like I had no idea like how to celebrate. Um, just like so many emotions kind of taking over my body. And it was crazy because like in college, I think I've scored like 5 goals. So like scoring was like not a thing of mine. So like to score that goal as my first professional goal was just like so crazy. Something like I'll remember for the rest of my life. So yeah, it was still to this day. I'm like, how did I do that? I don't know, but
Well, I disagree with you saying that you won't be able to do that again because I definitely think you can do it again. That, even though you didn't at Northwestern, you didn't get a lot of goals, but you had so many assists and you started so many goals. You're such a key player for us that like it makes sense why you've gone so far as you've gone. And
Thank you.
really, of course. Um, what was it like to like get that celebration from your teammates? They all ran to you,
Oh
hugged
my
you.
gosh.
I feel like they were excited for your first goal.
Yeah, that was like so amazing. That was kind of like the icing on top of the cake, you know. They were so excited for me. And that just kind of like made me just like feel even more a part of the team, more like I belonged there. And it was just so amazing. Like I have so many pictures of like all the girls, you know, running towards me with their arms open. Such like a really, really cool feeling. And those are like memories and pictures that I'll have to cherish for the rest of my life.
What is it like playing on the field with Marta? Because she's someone that you've been able to play with and game.
Yeah.
What is that? How is that like having someone so amazing as that on your
Yeah.
team?
Honestly, like half the time last year, I was just like, get the ball to Marta and she'll like do something with it. That was like my game plan. But she's literally like the best player in the world, like so incredible. And off the field, she's like even more incredible. So just to kind of like learn from her, um, and with like all of her experience and everything, it's so crazy. Um, yeah, I just try to get the ball to her and I'm like, okay, do your thing, like go dribble like 5 people and score a goal.
That's awesome. That's so cool to have that experience. So, as I said before, being a professional soccer player is such a dream, and knowing anything about that life is like so interesting. So, tell me a day in your life playing for Orlando. Like, what is it like having soccer as your job? As in, like, waking up in the morning. Like, what do you do?
Okay, so basically we usually train in the morning because it's super hot here. So I usually wake up around like 7:30, and then my roommates and I will drive to training. And training, depending on which like the day, um, training will last anywhere from like an hour to 2 hours. Um, After training, again, depending on the day, we'll have lunch, and then we might have a film session. We might have gym. We might, what else? We might have even another training session. So it kind of depends day to day. But I think you made a really good point of like, this is my job now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, putting in 2 hours at training isn't enough anymore. So, really kind of doing things outside, whether mandatory or not, is what I need to do so that I can perform my job at the best of my ability. So yeah, day to day it kind of depends, but there is like a lot of stuff outside that I try to do to kind of stay, you know, and do my job the best I can.
I remember when you came to talk to our team, like very quickly, and you were kind of put on the spot, and our coach asked you about like the fitness test and like what did it feel like to have to pass it? Like, did everybody pass it? And you're like, you have to. Like, it is literally a standard. Like,
Right.
It's a job. Like, you have to do that. And it was just such an
Right.
interesting concept to me because it's like you're right. Like, if this is the job that you want, you really have to just complete it and get it going because if not,
Right. Right. And I think that's like one of the biggest differences that I've taken away from college, to professional is like, these are literally people's jobs. Like this is what they're doing to, you know, make an income and support their families. And they have to perform, they have to do everything to everything to the best of their ability, or else, they can get traded, they can get waived. So you really have to commit and um, really just do everything you can.
Yeah. Which is crazy because thinking of being a student athlete, I like in college you have so much going on. Like you have soccer and you want that to honestly be your job in college, but you can't do all of it. Like you also
Right.
have to have your essays and your tests and you're going to class.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't imagine the amount of not free time, but so much more time you can to
Yeah,
commit to your craft. And it
definitely.
must be so amazing because you love it so much that it must be so like just more fun. And is it hard because you have to it's like more of it's more of a job? Like, is it you have a hard time doing extra stuff, or is it more exciting?
I wouldn't, so like, honestly, like, yes, this is my job, but I wouldn't view it like as a job. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I view it as like, I'm very grateful to be able to play this sport, you know, as my job. Um, so it's kind of just like, this is what I love to do, and I'm going to do whatever I can to be, the best player that I can be. So it's kind of like that mindset switch of like, okay, yes, this is my job, but, I really like this is, kind of like a dream almost. So just to be able to go to a soccer field every day and play. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
What advice would you give a college player that wants to play professionally?
Ooh, um, I'd say the best piece of advice that I could give is to, there's like a lot that I could say. Um, okay. The best piece of advice would be kind of like, don't stress if you're not in like a ideal situation right off the get-go. Just because like, even like, I'll admit, like, I got very lucky that last year was a World Cup year, where I was kind of able to step in to those open spots. Um, but if the NWSL is your main goal and you don't get drafted, there's still so much opportunity out there for you to grow and learn as a player. And I think take whatever opportunities you can get, because at the end of the day, you're playing the sport you love for, you can only do it for so long. So really just enjoy it, take it day by day, do what you can to, grow as a person, as a player, get new experiences. And at the end of the day, you're playing soccer for, only a few years, after college. So just really soak it all in.
And don't take it for granted and realize that
Yeah,
that might be your only 4 years, but you never know.
right.
There is the opportunity in the end. Is there anything you would change from the past 4 years?
Ooh, is there anything I would change? I would say like the thing that I would change is, I would say the beep test, but I think that was something that I needed to grow as a person and player. I don't know. What would I change? I guess just like, your 4 years goes by so fast in college. And even for me, I had to leave early my senior year. So it really flies by, and just really kind of take it day by day, appreciate, where you're at, the people you're surrounded with. Um, Maybe I would just tell myself not to take it for granted, just because, sadly, it does come to an end one day.
No, that's so true. I can't believe that I'm in my third year. I'm like,
It's
where
crazy.
I feel like I just stepped my
It's
freshman year here.
crazy.
What would you tell your freshman year self at Northwestern?
I would tell myself to kind of just calm down, don't stress out. Everything works out. I think, like, I could probably speak for a lot of people. You change and grow so much during college. So if everything isn't going perfectly, your first year, you just kind of got to take a breath and understand that it's like a learning process. You're going to grow as a person throughout. So don't stress out, especially the small things. Everyone's in it together. And you just got to take it day by day and enjoy it, because, those are the best 4 years of your life.
Yeah, that's so true. You're so right. Such good advice. And now I'm actually gonna pass it down to the viewers. If anybody would like to ask questions,
Ooh.
they are able to. Just type in that question and we'll answer. Marissa will be able to answer for you. But I guess like while we wait for people to put questions if they want them, I kind of have like fun extra questions, which is like,
Ooh, yeah,
what it's like to play in front of a huge audience.
that was like really crazy, like my first game, because there were so many people and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm kind of scared and nervous and don't want to like mess up in front of all these people.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like especially when you're playing at home, like they're all there just to like support you, cheer for you, want the best for you. So it's really cool to like play in front of a big audience.
Is it really loud or distracting? Like, do you have a hard time hearing your teammates, or do you kind of just like zone it out?
So like sometimes I zone it out, but it's hard to because like you do have to talk so much on the field, and it can be really loud. So you know you have to use like a lot of like pointing, and you really have to scream. Really have to scream, especially like when you play at Portland. They get like 20,000 fans. So yeah, so it is like so loud, and they're cheering the entire game. So you really have to, really, really, really have to scream.
What an experience! I can't imagine. That's insane. I've always thought about that. Like whenever I go into the field, I'm like, what would it be like? I think about football players too, actually, and I'm like, what does it feel like
Right.
to be have all those people around you and have to focus on your game?
Right.
Question from Nessa Fuentes. She says, "Does professional soccer feel more competitive than college?"
Ooh, that's a good question. I wouldn't say that. I don't know. Like college is definitely competitive. I would say that professional feels more competitive, just because again, it is like people's jobs, so they really like they have to win basically.
Yeah.
So I think that just adds like another level of competitiveness. And I think there's like even a bigger level of competitiveness maybe within teams, because you know people are wanting to be out on the field come game day. So yeah, I'd say that professional is more competitive, but that doesn't mean that college isn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. And I actually had to write down as a bunch of questions were coming. Someone asked, I think last name is Silver, do you ever get negativity at all? And if you do, how do you deal with it?
So I try to like stay off like social media as much as I can with like people saying stuff after games. Just because I mean there's always gonna be people, you know, that disagree. There's always gonna be people who, you know, aren't happy that you win, all that stuff. So it's kind of just like you gotta block it out. It's gonna happen no matter what. Um, but you just have to focus on yourself, on your team, what you can do to get better and grow.
So true. Interesting. I never thought about like not going on social media after your.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Chloe McGee asked, what are your favorite teams to play, and what do you have any rivalries?
Favorite teams to play? I mean, I wouldn't say I have like a favorite team. I think it's the league is unique in that each game you play is going to be different, and each team like possesses different qualities. So the games are, you know, usually games are pretty evenly matched. So it's always like fun going into a game because on any day, any team can beat anyone basically. And then what was the second question?
If you have any teams that you have rivalries.
Oh, rivals. I mean, I'd say like just because the league is so small, like everyone's kind of a rival with everyone, because there are only 9 teams, so you're playing each team 3 times a year. So I wouldn't say we have like one main rival, but I'd say like all teams are rivals with each other.
What are the do's and don'ts of being recruited?
Ooh, that's a good one. So I know like the college recruiting process has changed since I was, wait, are we talking about college, right?
I believe so. I feel like it's someone from a younger audience.
Yeah. Okay. So the recruiting guidelines have changed quite a bit since when I was going through that. I'd say the biggest thing is, reach out to coaches, let them know who you are, let them know you're interested. And I'd also say look at schools where you can get an all-around experience. Don't go to a school solely for soccer or solely for one thing. I think it's really important that you find a school that kind of fits everything that you're looking for in a college experience. And I think that's why I enjoyed my time at Northwestern so much because, I had Big Ten soccer, but I also had really good academics and a social, experience. So I think that's why my college time was so amazing because I had, that all around experience. In terms of don't limit yourself to, certain conferences, certain, states, geography, all that stuff. I'd say kind of keep your options open. And because you never know, even when I was looking at Northwestern, my parents had to beg me and beg me and beg me to go on a recruiting trip there. And then I ended up falling in love with it. So keep your options open. You never know what could happen.
I remember you telling me that you didn't want to go to you didn't want to go in recruiting for Northwestern. Yeah. All of a sudden you fell in love with it, which is such a fun. Somebody asked, how has your role model changed? How's your feeling of being a role model changed since you've been a professional soccer player, especially towards young women?
Yeah, so I think that's something that I'm even still trying to realize is being in this position. I now, have young girls, coming to games, staying after, for autographs, for pictures. And it's kind of just crazy for me to think that I'm literally just a 23-year-old playing professional soccer, not a big name by any means, but still girls, look up to to us basically. So it's still kind of something that I have to realize and everything. But at the end of the day, if I can make an impact on, even one little girl, that makes me feel really good.
Awesome. Another question was, what club did you play club, and what club did you play for?
Yeah, so I played club. I'm from Michigan. I kind of jumped from a few different clubs. I was with Michigan Gators for a little bit, and then once ECNL became a thing, I moved to Vardar, and then my U16 year, I moved to the Michigan Hawks and finished my club career there.
Awesome. What's crazy is that so many of your class played against each other, and I remember there's literally 5 of you in one picture playing against each other for it's so crazy.
I know. Brenna, myself, we were playing against Hannah and Kayla.
Yeah.
So there's a picture of all of us.
So funny. I love it. McKenna asked, what's your plan after playing professionally, and how long do you plan on playing?
So I'm honestly going to play as long as I can. I get that question kind of a lot. And I just say I'm going to do this for as long as I can. It's what I love to do. And, as long as my body's able to do it, I'm going to keep playing. Honestly, after, I don't really have it's not that I don't have an idea. I have a few different things, that I would be interested in, but I think it's going to depend on, when I finish playing and everything. So not quite sure, but hopefully I don't have to worry about that for a few more years.
You don't. Somebody asked if you could give advice to their younger sister who's age 9 and age 8, if I read it correctly.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to sound cliche, but really you just have to dream big and set goals for yourself and do whatever you can to achieve them, because you know, if someone told me when I was 8 years old, you're going to be a professional soccer player, I would have been like, no way, like, there's no chance. And that was just because, you know, I didn't believe in myself and I didn't set those goals. But I think that's something that's super important is to really dream big, have high aspirations, and really just do whatever you can to get there.
That's great advice. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
How was the college recruitment process for you? I know you kind of talked about it a little bit, but how, and other specifics of how it went?
Yeah, so I would say like my college recruiting process was a little different because Northwestern was only the second school that I visited. So it kind of just like worked out. And I tell people all the time, like when you visit somewhere, like you'll know that that's where you're meant to be. And I kind of got that feeling and I was like, there's really no point in me kind of, you know, looking at other places because this is definitely like where I am meant to spend my next my 4 years of college. So kind of just you'll know where you're supposed to be. So
agree. You do know when you go.
Yeah,
and
you know.
You don't feel right in, and then you step onto that one school and you're like, this is it.
Right.
I don't want people to be like, I feel like that's such a high expectation that they're expecting that feeling. And I know some people haven't, but I feel like the majority of people like kind of know.
Yeah, exactly.
Another question was asked, were you on DA or ODP, and can a player make it to college or pro without being on a high level team?
So I did ODP before I started in ECNL. So I did ODP, I don't even know how long, for a few years. And then once ECNL became a thing, that's when I switched to Vardar and I started playing ECNL and going to those showcases. But I definitely think people, you know, if you're not on a DA team or ECNL team, you still don't like sell yourself short by any means. And I think that's where it becomes really important to reach out to college coaches, maybe because if you're not getting the exposure from those showcases, you just might have to reach out a little bit more than players that do go to those showcases. But definitely don't sell yourself short by any means. It's definitely still, you know, a goal that you can achieve. So don't freak out or anything.
Yeah. How often did you reach out to college coaches in your recruitment process?
Honestly, I think my dad did a lot. I'm not even gonna lie. You know, I gave him some schools that I would be interested in, and he kind of did like the navigating between those schools. But again, I think it's really important to keep options open, reach out, you know, see what schools are needing for your incoming year, and kind of go from there.
Another person, there's actually two questions. What degree did you have at Northwestern? What did you major in?
Okay. So I majored in communication studies and then I minored in business institutions. And I was going for a marketing certificate, but I had to cut that once I got drafted so that I could still graduate on time. Yeah.
And would you go into that after? I know you say you don't really know for sure what you would do, but is that a path that you would take possibly after playing professionally?
I don't know. I've always had this love for like healthcare and helping people. And although like my major doesn't have anything really to do with that, I think I would try to find something that kind of brought my major and healthcare together. So not sure what that would be, but we'll see.
Awesome. And then the most interesting interaction you've had with fans?
One girl after a game asked if she could have my shin guards. So I gave her my shin guards. I literally think it was our last game, so I was like, okay, sure, you can have these. But at first she asked if she could have my cleats, and I was like, no, you can't have my cleats. I only have like 2 pairs. So you can have my shin guards.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I know, kind of weird, but
that's so
like
cute.
our fans are really cool, and like super supportive. And we obviously didn't have the best year last year, but they, you know, they stuck by our sides through it all. So really, really cool to have them kind of, you know, supporting us through thick and thin.
That's awesome. Speaking of cleats, what are your favorite cleats to wear?
I'm the worst with cleats. I wear Nike Mercurials.
Are those the
I think,
orange that you wear?
yes, I had them in orange and now I have them in gray.
Oh, nice.
But I like couldn't even tell you the different types of cleats. I'm so bad with that stuff.
Well, it means you're not high maintenance, which is nice.
Yeah, not at all.
All right, Marissa, those are all of the questions. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and I'm sure everyone's excited. And it was so great to see you again, especially since we're in quarantine and we can't go visit you, which is sad.
Right.
Thank you
No.
so much, and I want to
Thank
thank all
you
of you.
so much.
And I want to thank all the viewers for tuning in, and I want to thank my high school because they reached out to people to view us, as well as Israel from A4K, and for Legends FC, my old club team. Thank you everyone for joining. This is so great. All right.
Thank you guys so much. Thanks, Nia.
Marissa, so good to see you. Miss.
Bye. Bye. Miss you too.
Bye.